Each of us has a divine assignment. Each of us has a gift, a light. And when you are in that flow, that's where your magnificence shines and radiates. And so the world responds to that. Of course, you're going to see success. Of course, you're going to be happier, healthier.
Jess King, internationally recognized Peloton instructor, creative visionary, and fierce advocate for authenticity. Jess has inspired millions to live boldly, unapologetically.
The value of your inner child. It's everything. I mean, it's imagination, it's curiosity. It's those two things that are required if you're going to heal. You have to stay curious about what might be possible. It's not a doing whatsoever, it's a being.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the CEO School podcast. I'm your host, Suneera Madhani, and I am so excited for the season to be kicking back off because today on CEO School, I'm joined by Jess King, internationally recognized Peloton instructor, creative visionary, and fierce advocate for authenticity, true authenticity. From the Peloton stage to her work as a performer, mentor, and entrepreneur, and a new mom as well, Jess has inspired millions to live boldly, unapologetically, and of course, with purpose. Jess, welcome to CEO School.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am so excited to have you. I have been taking your workout classes for quite some time, and my favorite is the hikes, the music, the DJing, the creativity. Thank you for being here. I mean, I have so many questions for you. We've been chatting backstage or offline, and I'm so excited for our audience to get to know you because we are a group of the most incredible entrepreneurs, CEOs, mothers, and we are so busy in our lives. And the last thing that we do is take a moment for ourselves. And I know you are all about finding those moments, living life to our best. So I am just so thrilled to have you.
I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to have the conversation. I do think I have a perspective that maybe you haven't thought of before that doesn't necessarily feel like having to add another thing to your already to-do list, and kind of incorporating ways to be inside of the chaos and still pull your nervous system back into regulation, or try to not think of your workout as this added thing you have to get to, but a place where you can align your body and your spirit to work towards solving the larger problems in your life.
It's so important. And before we get into all of your awesome tips, I want to get to know you and your journey. How did it all happen? Take us all the way back. I know you are a performer, a dancer. You were not a fitness instructor. How did it all align, and how did you end up becoming one of Peloton's greatest instructors?
Thanks for saying that. Yeah, so it wasn't that I was never in fitness. I was always a dancer, an artist, and made it a point to pursue that and not fitness because my mother was in fitness. So she did bodybuilding, aerobics, she had her own gym, she personal trained. So I had such a hands-on experience of fitness and nutrition and movement and the body and the respect for the science of it all. I had that information at a really young age. And I still chased dance and performance. I wanted to get out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina as bad as anybody could possibly want to. And So You Think You Can Dance was the way that I did that. Yeah, so I auditioned season 3 and didn't make it. I made it to Vegas and made it through a few rounds and was like, okay, I kind of know what I need to do. And then auditioned for season 4, and that radically changed my life, and not necessarily in the way that one would think that you're on this like reality TV show and then you're catapulted into fame. It's really anything but that, as anyone in reality TV would tell you. You have this crazy experience where you're really removed from everybody. You're insulated, you're incubated, you create these deep bonds with this group of people. You learn so much, and then you're spit back out into the world to like figure it all out. And I was determined to figure it out. And so I kept going, kept chasing dance. It brought me to New York. I remember coming here once and I was like, I'm going to work at the Box. And if you know what the Box is, then you went, and if you don't,
I don't know what the Box is.
Okay, so it is basically our version of Moulin Rouge.
Yeah.
It's a very cabaret, very provocative cabaret. The show starts at 1 a.m. And I said, I want to be in that show. So this is relevant because it was my producer at the Box that said, hey, there's this thing called Peloton, and I think you'd be great at it. You should try it out. And I was like, I'm an artist, I'm not in fitness, but I was also so broke. So there was two journeys happening. One was the professional one where I was just determined to succeed. Like there was nothing that was going to stand in my way except myself. And so the other journey that I was on very passionately was the one to seek to understand myself and heal, because there was parts and patterns in me that would routinely pull me out of my power, pull me away from source, and make me feel really, really small. And it was getting in the way of my relationships, getting in the way of my success. And it was one real bad breakup where I was not dancing, not doing anything that was related to me. And in an attempt to come back to myself, that's when I found a therapist and I started unpacking all of those patterns and seeking to heal. And, oh my gosh, yes, inner child, get it. It was just this like deep dive into my own understanding of myself that was radically changing my life. And I knew immediately too that I had.
And what year was this?
This was, I'm so bad at dates. Like 2013, maybe.
It's a little over, over a decade ago. Right. Yeah.
Definitely over a decade ago. And so here it was, at the box, trying out Peloton, and at the same time dating a woman for the first time. Pretty sure like some planet was in retrograde or in its return, because it was like all these like crazy crossroads of new.
Yeah.
Everything was new. But as I kept healing, I allowed love in. I didn't really question or care that it showed up in the form of a woman, and I was like, that's kind of hot too. Like, great. And now we're married and we have two kids. But that led me to really wanting to say, okay, I understand now for a fact that if you want to change your life, if you want to heal something about yourself, if you find yourself hating yourself or continually getting hurt, then there's no magic pill or one thing. It is this return to moving your body, to nourishing your body with foods and things that have healing properties and specific to your body, really seeking to understand the emotions, which is the vibration and the frequency that is then, working with your thoughts, that is then, creating the life that you see around you. So if you don't like the life around you, then you have to move into your
life. But it starts with self. Yeah, it starts with the inside. I agree with that so wholeheartedly. I mean, we're not going to go into my journey today, but every moment that I've had to rebuild, or every moment that's been the most amount of struggle in my life, the only way I've actually gotten out of it was to get through it. And it started with the deep inner stuff that we truly avoid. And it has been sitting with yourself through and getting through with movement, getting through with prayer, meditation, source, whatever it is. But it's like truly internal, looking yourself really deep to say, we've got to heal through it to come out of it. And the most beautiful things have happened in my life, but I've had to also sit still to go through those moments. That was in that moment. You had box, you had Peloton, and then how did Peloton? I'm like obsessed with hearing about, I listened to a few of your recordings this week, and you talked about the year of yes. Was that the year of yes?
It was the year of yes. Yeah. So it was definitely a year of yes, because I had nothing to lose at that point.
Yeah.
I was single. I had finally gotten a studio apartment. I remember it was a ground floor apartment, no bigger than this setup here. I was so proud of it. And I was like, this is mine. And I loved it so much because it meant freedom. And it was freedom to feel, freedom to process, freedom to be and exist without judgment or getting triggered. It just was this space where I could be with myself, and I was being with myself so intentionally. I was journaling every day. I was in this, there's a few times in my life, and I'm in one right now, where I have been incredibly deliberate with my thought, the integrity of my thought. And it's the laws of attraction, it's the secret, it's that. I am certain and convinced that that's how I got on So You Think You Can Dance, because I really had no business from a dance standpoint being on that show. Yes, I'm good, but whatever, everyone's good. Why did I get on that show? It's because I had this belief that had no doubt. It was no doubt in it whatsoever. And there's been a few times in my life where I'm like, okay, I want to manifest. I want to change. I want to shift, right?
Yeah.
I want a quantum leap. Like that was one of those crazy vortexes I was in, where I was like, just like knowing that I was destined to have this I have value. I knew I had value. I feel the energy. I can barely contain it, right? I didn't know what it was. So it was right at that moment that I said, you know what, I have to put some sort of skill set or language behind this. Yeah. And I went and got certified to be a life coach. I went to the Coactive Training Institute, which is not just like a weekend workshop, okay? This was 200 hours. This is a major thing. And I say that because a lot of life coaches get a bad rap for what it is. And I'm telling you that there is a real tried and true method to this practice. And it radically changed my life to become a coach, to understand the model, for the model to work on me, and then turn around and being able to provide that space for others. I love it just as much as a high intensity workout. I get the same like vibration and like wiggle up my spine when I'm working with someone or a group of individuals who are willing to be vulnerable with me and willing to like really feel the fear, feel whatever their pain is, and shift and move into it. And I do that in movement on the bike. Like that's the purpose. Cool, I'm playing music. Cool, I'm doing all this. But like underneath it all, I'm like trying to...
You are so great. I hear now that I play back or like in my head, the life coach moments through your sessions. Like it'll come through of like when you just need that, you're like, I can't do this. And then you'll say something so amazing. I'm like, okay, I'm in, Jess, let's go.
Yes.
Let's go.
And that's by design, right? Yeah. Because I'm taking myself into...
But it wasn't for me specifically though.
But it resonates because we're all in that moment together, right? We're in that moment on the bike having that, or the tread, wherever we are, and we're having that same resonant experience. So if I can tap into what I'm feeling, chances are you are too. It's going to land in some way. Mm-hmm.
And then Peloton, I read about your interview with Peloton. I thought that was hilarious and so awesome. And I think why I want to tell this story is because I think women, we're always trying to like prove ourselves and over prepared, and that's part of it. We have to be, because we're not taken seriously for the role. We have to be over like credentialed for everything that we show up for. And I want you to tell this story because I feel like we all need to have permission to just show up and say, I demand this role, because, I want you to tell the story.
Okay, sure. So remember, I had no context for what Peloton was because it wasn't anything yet, right? Like there was no studio. There was no other instructors I could look at to see what's that job or career like nothing.
Yeah.
It was just a conversation about an idea. Hey, we're going to take this bike and we're going to, you're going to teach classes here, and it's virtually stream it all over the world to people in their homes.
What year was this?
This is 2013.
13. Okay.
Change that if I'm wrong. Somebody fact check me. I'm so bad on dates. I've been at Peloton almost 12 years in January.
Okay.
So I believe that's the right math. And so I had taken this conversation, and there was no agenda. It was just meeting them, and they were testing the software. So they had a black curtain in an office similar to this with one Peloton bike and a bunch of other Schwinn bikes around. And we were just beta testing the software to see if we could stream classes. And I had never taken an indoor spin class before. And they're like, you could come and just take these classes if you want at 8 a.m. And it was February, March, April around this time. Okay, just gone through a breakup, still hadn't moved into that studio apartment. In fact, I had knocked on a friend of a friend's door who lived on a 6th floor walk up on 64th in York, which if you know how hard it is to get from York to Lexington to get to the train on February when you have a dog, you go down 6 flights of stairs, you let the dog go outside, then you go up 6 flights of stairs to put the dog back, then you go back down your 6 flights of stairs, then you're walking in the snow, literally, not like your dad used to tell you, I went to school in the snow, literally in the snow, to make this not real spin class at 8 a.m. for who knows what.
Yeah.
Who knew what? I really didn't know what.
But you said yes. You were like,
I didn't have anything else. Like nothing else in my life had made sense. Like I was doing bar mitzvahs on the weekend. Which are a great gig, by the way. And I learned a lot from that. And I was go-go dancing when I could. I was dancing at the box. What else did I have? I had nothing. I had like $20 in my bank account. Nowhere to live yet. Let's see what pops off at Peloton. I don't know. So this went on for a few months. And then finally they were like, okay, so we'd like you to audition. And I looked at them like, what? What do you mean audition? They're like, audition. I'm like, I could definitely put on an audition for you, right? I'm like, but I'm going to be great at this. I have everything that you possibly could need. I have the deep passion to transform people's lives. I wish I didn't. It's ruined every relationship I've ever been in. It would be nice to have like an outlet where it's like, this is what you're supposed to do here. And musicality, movement, choreographic, performance. I've been in Cirque du Soleil, So You Think You Can Dance, went on tour. I've done a bunch of
you've done it.
High profile performance. I'm like, you guys need edge. You're gonna need someone who understands like the landscape of entertainment that's outside of fitness. So I basically just said, look, I'm gonna be great at this. Just hire me.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like,
mic drop.
Okay, just per usual with me. Everyone's like, we're really not sure what to do about her, what it's going to end up being, but there's something interesting here. And it was enough for them to say yes.
I love that story for so many reasons. I love it because you didn't you were like, I know my worth in that moment. Like you knew it. You knew that you belong there. You knew you were going to deliver incredible. You were like, I'm not coming back for another thing. Just hire me now and let's just get this over with. I love the directness in that too, because I think sometimes as women, we are constantly in our own heads and we're editing before it even comes out of our mouth, like all the time. Like I catch myself in that all the time. And moments where shit actually moves is when it's like just direct and real. And that's how business gets done. That's how life gets done. Mm-hmm. And so I just loved when I read that story. I was like, that's a good, I have to call on that because you deserved it. And look at what you did.
But I have to say though, working in my favor was that there was not already a system in place for me to have to fit into. Mm-hmm. There was not already a recruitment process or an audition process or an onboarding process. There was no process. So in my head, I'm like, what are you on for what?
Yeah.
For what? Just hire me.
I know, but I still think you're discounting it because
I hear what you're saying.
I think you're discounting it because even if there isn't that doesn't mean you still knew you were like, I'm going this is it. Do you want it? I'm here for it and I'm going to give it my all. And I think that is bold. And I think that's taking a bet on yourself as well. Even if you feel like, I didn't have anything else going on or they didn't have a full process, you also saw some vision. You were like, hey, I'm going to go for this thing that's in a studio like this with one. I'm imagining that studio with one Peloton bike and Schwinn bikes and being like, this is going to be a thing. People are going to work out and watch you from this device. That is so cool and novel and visionary. I'm a tech founder. And so for me, seeing that vision in the technology and the product and being like, this is not even possible. And then it becomes our reality every day. Now people are streaming online or streaming on their bikes and then catching you online. And, my next question for you, you've literally built an audience of millions, right? So you didn't fit the box, yet you found your own way, which I think is so important and something that I hope my girls to have too. I'm a girl mom and I just want them to be. For so long, I felt like I was a man in a skirt in the finance world. Mm-hmm. So I had to be something that I wasn't to try to fit in. It wasn't my fault. I just wanted, I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to make sure that that's where the deals were getting done. This is how I needed to show up. And ironically, I'm wearing I'm wearing, but this is for fashion now. This is by choice. This is by choice. But I love that you always were authentic to yourself. I wish it took me a really long time until my daughters were born that I felt like I was no, I am not that. This is who Sunny is. My nickname's Sunny. And I'm a different personality. And I felt like I was showing up with two different people at work. Mm-hmm. So I didn't give myself permission for a long time. When I gave myself permission, my company skyrocketed. That's where I don't know if it was the woo, the confidence, the magic, the vortex, and my own mindset. But I showed up as me. I felt like it was magic. And I love that you had that in the beginning and then the space formed for you. And now you've become such an advocate to, be your most authentic self, to live boldly. What does authentic leadership look like to you? What does that mean for you now, showing up authentically and sharing that with your audience?
I come from the other side of that spectrum where there is no filter for me, and I'm not thinking about what I'm saying before I speak. So now there is this refinement of self. Okay, so what I hear you saying is that there was this marriage, this kind of what was dissonant, you called home, what didn't belong to you, you let go of. And when you are each of us has a divine assignment. Each of us has a gift, a light, whatever, makes you feel like you're in that flow or vibrating higher, happy, joyful, however you can distinguish that it's happening. But we all have that. And when you are in that flow, that's where your magnificence shines and radiates. And so the world responds to that. Of course, you're going to see success. Of course, you're going to be happier, healthier. Of course, your vision and your message is going to reach more people and have more resonance and increase in frequency and vibration. Like that's just law. That, of course, that's going to happen. Again, it's that point of awareness, whether you are on the side of, filtering everything that you say. I mean, especially in fitness too, and in science, this is a systemic thing of women trying to be little men, or women having to change or edit ways that we are, especially as it relates to our EQ. That's not allowed here. Your EQ is not allowed in the corporate world. I'm just like, fuck that. Yeah. Give me the mic. Because here I am in corporate, and what I'm pushing is not just an agenda of wellness and science and fitness, but you hear it in a lot of my classes. A lot of people don't want to hear it, but that you do have a gift, and it is up to you to share your gift with the world. There's only one of you. And if you don't, the world will never have it. I find that to be incredibly selfish, and just offering up different perspectives, because life is hard and we get stuck and challenged, and I get very triggered by that. I want everyone to keep like, I can't if you're in my orbit, I'm exhausting. There's just not a moment that goes by where there's room for anyone to be in like a pitiful state. Sure, you can have feelings that are low, that are real. I mean, I struggle with extreme exhaustion and malaise sometimes. I have a really hard time both physically and emotionally. Just my job and my lifestyle is incredibly high intensity, and I don't often have the times to be still, or especially now that I'm commuting. I find stillness on the train, but like, I'm on a train, you know what I mean? It's just really intense, and sometimes it'll knock me out. There is permission to be knocked out. That's not what I'm speaking to. I'm speaking to the moments where you buy into the old story, where you're unaware of what you're saying and doing are not aligned with your goals, or serving smaller, past, traumatized, hurt parts of you that need to be loved. And, it's this idea that instead of like fixing what's wrong with us, we turn towards those parts of us and invite them to come back into the conversation and see them for their gift too. Because let's say inner child, for example, a lot of us struggle with that. The value of your inner child is
protection.
It's everything. I mean, it's imagination, it's curiosity, and it's those two things actually that are required if you're going to heal. You have to stay curious about what might be possible. You have to use your imagination to imagine what a compassionate voice might say in this moment when you're feeling XYZ. So critical that we turn towards the inner child and say, come back. You have a beautiful spirit, and I actually need you here. I think that's just a different approach to the way we've been told, like, if there's something wrong with you, then here's what you can do about it. And here's all the 5 things that you can buy to, expedite the journey getting there. And when you're talking about wanting to like unpack a childhood adaptive behavior that you might have of like shutting down or withdrawing or armoring up or whatever it might be, if you're like, I actually don't want to do that anymore. How do I not do that anymore? It's not a doing whatsoever. It's a being. How do I be with myself in the moment I become most aware that I want to do that other thing? And it's those moments where I hope I become at some point the little voice in your head, or like the little that's like, just hold, just like stay here and invite love into the conversation and see what happens. That is I forget where I'm going with all of it.
I love it. I'm loving it so much.
Yeah, that's what I like. I believe everyone deserves to know that it's possible to do that in themselves. You don't have to be smart or special, or it doesn't even require you buy anything. It's just this information that you within yourself that you can invite love into a hard conversation, and you can find a compassionate voice, and it's always available to you because you were born of it, and you were good enough when you were born, so you're good enough now.
I think that's so beautiful, and I totally followed your entire thought process there. And I'm going to unpack it here because you know, when I asked you about authentic self is where I started, right? I asked you about authentic self, and you're bringing us back to say like, that is your inner child is all like, that's a huge part of your authentic self. Or when you feel like you're not in those moments or not in your authentic self, being with yourself is your most authentic self. Recognizing yourself is your most authentic self. Recognizing those pains or the trauma or the where there places that need to heal. It's not a fixing, it's a being. And that is being your most authentic self, to be with yourself. And I think that that is really beautiful. I think of all these women that are listening to this today, and you know, we're talking about stillness and finding those moments. I think that we are starting to have those conversations. We are starting to become aware, but I think that we are so, hate this word, busy. Right? Life is so full. It's so busy. How do I actually take the time to learn about myself and to find that healing or to even find that stillness? Because in the moments that I do lose it, or in the moments that I don't want to, or in the moments that are frustrating, I'm moving so fast that I can't be. And so how do you find this like level of calm and stillness in the chaos? Because I mean, you're saying it so eloquently.
I am not going to come on here and lie on your show and tell you.
Okay. We'll call bullshit on that then.
Okay, I have some thoughts though.
Okay, let's do it.
Understanding yourself and creating a relationship with yourself, meaning when you can understand that you are not the voice in your head, that you have a voice in your head.
That's really profound. You are not the voice in your head. You have a voice in your head. Oh my God. Like, that is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So based off of that model, then once you become aware of your thoughts, if it's not serving you, meaning this thought I'm having is sending my heart rate up, I'm getting stressed. What more is here? Then you can start to ask yourself, oh, I am angry. This is reminding me of this. Oh, I'm actually really stressed out. There's a lot of information inside of it. But when you can realize that you are not the information, you are not the anger, you are not angry, you are with anger, then having this relationship inside that says, I can find that higher thought that's going to start challenging these feelings, questioning, and not interrogating them, because I think that's the hard part, is that we're like really like militant and like, you have to be better. And it's like, there's a part of you that's very upset. And having children now, you realize like when they're in a tantrum, there's nothing you could do except be there, make sure they don't get hurt, hold the space, and when they're up for air, be a soft place to land. And then you have to work with them to process their emotions and experiences, because they literally don't have the brain capacity to do it. When you can put yourself into that position and imagine that whatever email just made you want to throw your computer across the room is actually it might not be your inner child, but it will definitely be a part of your formative years, or anywhere where you've had some version of a traumatic experience, right? That you're
triggered by it.
Yeah, you're triggered, right? So it got clocked in your consciousness or subconsciousness. You can immediately understand and know that that part of you is small, hurting. If you think of it as a child, then the invitation would be to speak to that part of you compassionately, lovingly, offering this kind of like sounding board to say, I see you're really hurting right now. What's underneath of that? How might you be able to communicate around this? Oh, and by the way, I still love you. You're still lovable, even though you really messed up, even though, you know, you were out of integrity, you idiot, you know, and there's that, see that inner voice, it's like, you idiot. It's having integrity, right? The 4 agreements, we remember, okay, this is integrity of thought. Like, oh, wow.
Great book, by the way, if you haven't read the 4 agreements. It's every year I read that on my list.
And if you want a book for this understanding of the separation of I and the voice in your head, Untethered Soul.
I haven't read Untethered. It reminded me a lot of The New Earth, because it's about ego and self, and then separating out the self from the ego. And then you can almost be in this observation mode of your life. But it's so meta. I love this conversation. Like, this is so much cooler than Business talk.
Well, okay, so the book that really changed it all for me was A Course in Miracles. A Course in Miracles is really, I would say the Bible, but it's controversial to say that because it is actually taking the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, these religious texts and pulling out all of the overlapping themes, which boil it down to recognizing fear, the vibration of fear, which is where your ego is, sadness, apathy, grief, depression, anger, rage, all of the emotions that we tend to be like, absolutely not. We'll be having none of that. And then the understanding of that energy and the process of atonement, forgiveness, and moving into a higher vibration that transmutes, not just transcends, but takes that energy and transmutes it to love. And it really breaks down ego and fear and breaks down the why of love. Like why would we want to? So it's a very spiritual.
I love this. I was not expecting for it, like the conversation to be so spiritual, but I love it. And I think it's so important because I think that as, you know, busy women, like finding that one, just surrendering. Let's just like, even just like we are so trying to be in control because we're so type A, we're perfectionists, and let's face it, we have to work harder. Like that is, we're having it. It's that one seat at the table. It's proving our worth. It's all the inner dialogue that we have. It's all the roles that we have to play. I mean, there's so much all the time. It is important for us to just find some space to be like, oh my God, like let it just be. Like that was something that I struggle with. I still struggle with. I struggle with not having super control over everything. And I try to outwork my way, or I'm like, if I do it, it's better.
You have children. Did you carry?
I have two girls, 8 and 6.
Okay, so were you pregnant?
Yes.
Okay, how was that for your control?
I was still like as best as I could be, but I mean it was super.
But so that energy of control that like gets everything done, is that the energy that grew the baby in your body?
I mean, I think so. I was building my companies, and like our stacks at the time we were in our like 20 million in revenue, scaling. Like I was working, I was trying to get, I'm like,
right. But that energy, you could have been doing that or not doing that, and your baby would have still developed.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Regardless.
Okay. And your body would have still expanded, and your nipples would have gotten big,
and
all of the beautiful things that come with becoming a mother would have happened to you, and it's beyond your control. It's
so true.
So far beyond.
Yeah. Okay.
Control.
I get where
okay.
You're
Are you following me?
Yeah.
My mantra during pregnancy, the moment I found out I was pregnant, was surrender. Like immediately. A true test to our spiritual fitness is how quickly we can move into surrender.
I got so much work to do there. I'll just be, you gotta call bullshit on me on that. I got so much work to do there.
And the space between is your suffering.
Yeah.
Right? We suffer. We say, fuck it. Surrender. And you no longer suffer.
Yeah.
If I were have to like obsessed over the changes of my body and worried about what that might mean for my career, or it would have been just what my life experience was going to be. And that is uncomfortable. That's a lot of doubt. It's uncertainty. And if you really pull it back, it's like over a process that was going to happen no matter what. So surrendering just offers like a lot of peace, and it moves you back into love, flow, source, trust.
Yeah.
The energy that is, I believe, needed in order to manifest the life.
I think you're absolutely right. And I think that all of the moments of things that I've worked out, they're meant to work out too. It's like knowing that it's meant to be yours. The timeline is meant to be there. It is a sense of relief when you do hand the pressure back off to say like, it'll happen on its timeline, and you just like send the email and walk away, right? Like there's just only so much, but doing the work, manifesting is important. Doing the work is important alongside of it. I believe that it's not just the manifestation. Or do you not believe that? Do you believe that?
I am like you, and what I'm seeking to deconstruct is I'm tired. I want ease. I don't want to work hard anymore. We've been programmed that it has to be that way. I've been the victim of that programming, and now I'm completely indoctrinated, and I'm really tired. I'm burnt out, and I don't want it to be this way. Now, does that mean I'm not going to have energy and show up and create new businesses and still have this? No, it doesn't mean that. It just means I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to worry about it anymore. That's what I'm trying to unpack, because if it's true that I am a vessel, that the life that I'm creating is actually, I'm not alone doing it, that I'm working with the laws of earth, right? We walk on the earth, we're working with moon cycles and seasons, and we're all part of this like interconnectedness thing. And the thing that's beating my heart, the thing that's breathing me is not the monkey mind, this silly mind that's been singing the same lyric from Mambo number 5 for the last 20 years is definitely not the one. You know what I mean? I want it to be different. And here's kind of what I've been working on, because my schedule's not changing. The commute is still going to be hard. My children are still toddlers. Like, there's nothing about my circumstance that is going to change. More money's not just going to show up tomorrow. I mean, maybe I want it to, right? But I'm still working with the same set of variables. So I always question myself, how might I be different in this moment? Or who must I become in order to continue or stay or be in this moment? Who must I become right now? Because I recognize that who I am right now doesn't want to be here or is not having a very good time. Who must I become? I must become someone that trusts that the source energy that moves through me, that beats my heart, that grew a baby in my belly and then birthed it out in my bathroom, is so much bigger, more magnificent than me, that I'm working with that energy. And that energy doesn't have fear, worry, doubt. That is ease, that is love, that's source. So I consciously throughout my day check in. That's awesome. Oh, where am I? Where am I in my thoughts? Oh, I've been buried in emails. Let me take a deep breath. Let me feel my body. And let me say, hey, spirit, are you here? Yes, I'm here. Oh, me too. Nice to see you. So the tool to create the relationship with this other energy that is not your ego mind, which is the default, is to journal. And I really say do it by hand. I really write. I know now people text and type, and our thoughts are not linear. They move in circles, especially mine, or if you have a neurodivergent brain like mine, there's no linear, nothing happening here. So when you write, it is this forces you to complete the thought and move on to the obvious next thought, whereas your thoughts don't have those rules and guidelines. They can just ping pong erratically, where if you're writing as if you're talking to somebody or telling a story, you have to be thorough. And it's through that thoroughness that you start to process things, that you make new discoveries about what you learn, how you might anchor, and then you start to develop this relationship that you can rely on within yourself, that's looking out for you, that's checking in with you, that's saying, okay, your intentions are today. You know, that when, like the other day, I left my phone at home. I went to work for a 16-hour workday. I had a photo shoot. I taught 2 classes. I commuted on 2 trains, and I did not have a phone.
And how was it?
Honestly, I was totally fine because there was no point in chasing that energy. There was no way I was going to get my phone. I immediately surrendered.
I want to be where you're at.
I immediately was like, well, I'm glad I have a meditation practice. And I just sat with myself and I dropped in. And Sophia was like, my wife, she said, you're pretty zenned out for not having had your phone all day. I was like, yeah, I haven't had TikTok to trigger me or my emails. I literally don't know what's going on. I didn't have a choice. And it's that disconnect that allows us to reconnect and re-engage with feeling a little bit more grounded.
I think this is such a good point and such a good reminder for all. We are so tethered. We're already moving through life, business, all the things so fast. Then you add on the social pressures. You're looking at the social media is also as powerful as it is, or moments like this where we can have these conversations. Digital allows us to do that. Peloton, right? Bringing that fitness into our homes allows us to do that. But when we are constantly just tethered by device and constant noise, it's so hard to even break free from that space. So I love that you I'm going to leave my phone at home and give that a try. But I think that surrender is something I think we can all work on. And it's such a great reminder. And thank you for sharing. You say it with such ease, I will say. And the way that you are so fluid, I can feel like I'm watching your brain dance with how you're sharing even the thought processes that you're sharing. It's just beautiful. My brain does not work that way. I think maybe some of our audience, like if your brain works that way, let us know that it works like Jess's, or if it's working like Suneera's, like let me know which one it is. But I followed it and I want to be that. And I need those moments of you telling me to be that so that I can be that. And I think that's important. I want to shift gears a bit because we talked a little bit about motherhood, and then you threw at me that you just gave birth to your baby in the bathroom, and I like really want to go there. And I think motherhood, when you said I want ease, I think that that's when was my tipping point, when I realized like this is enough. Like it's not about me anymore. Like it was okay and the chaos was there, the build, the hustle, the this. And then when my babies were born, it shifted everything in a completely different way for me, where I was like, no, I started the business to chase, I guess, like freedom, but freedom of dollar. But I wanted freedom of time. Like I wanted freedom in a different way, not just the pursuit of whatever that the hustle was. So talk to me about motherhood. You have 2 kids, 8 months apart. I'd love for you to share your journey.
There's a reason why that's biologically not possible, because no one should have them. They're considered Irish twins. My wife and I overlapped our pregnancies. It took me a very long time to get pregnant. I struggled. So it was about a year of going through all the things. It's another podcast. I feel like all the things. And so I said, like, we don't know how long it's going to take you. Obviously, same sex. So it's a different means to an end. And she got pregnant on the first try. So I was like, great, now we're pregnant at the same time. We knew we wanted them close in age. We just wanted to get it over with. But like, unlike twins, they're still not developmentally in the same place. Like at one point, both of them still couldn't walk. But one's like a complete infant and the other one's like climbing all over everything. They're starting to get more in sync. My daughter, Afisa, is younger, but she might as well be older. Like she's just amazing and he's amazing. And I think what we've been trying as parents to mitigate the stress, the tantrums, is seeking to become or use a sovereign parenting style.
Okay. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually learned about this on another podcast, and I would, if I could think of who it was right now, I would say, but it's this premise. Let me take it back. Let me take it back to where I was in therapy. My biggest gripe was that I was a sovereign child. I knew what I wanted. I knew I would keep myself safe. I knew that I just needed support. Help me get there. I know what I want. I know what's meant for me. And I was met with no, because I said so, right? No explanation, not really willing to hear me, or it was just kind of this suppression of my expression because it didn't make sense to the other person, and it infuriated me. So as a parent, I don't want to have the same trigger. It's that feeling that I know better than you because I'm older than you and you're 2. So of course you don't know that you shouldn't have popsicles for breakfast. But is this a battle that I want? No, I don't want to fight this fight. Definitely have a popsicle for breakfast if that's what you want. You don't want to wear your shoes outside? Fine. I don't care. When you hurt your foot or it's cold or it's hot, you'll understand why we wear our shoes. So giving them the opportunity to experience it so they can make neurological connection that says, oh, we wear shoes because it's hot, not because my mom told me so. Exactly. And that's the kind of child I was, and wanted my parents to understand and just let me figure it out. If I fall down, I'll get back up. Like it's not that deep. And that's hard because I have an agenda. I want my daughter to wear bows in her hair. Damn it. Put these bows in your hair. And there's like some days we're not doing bows and I have to like surrender to that. Or, obviously we keep them safe, but there is a long leash.
I like that. I feel like I am probably more on that parenting style. My husband is not though. So are you both on the same page with like letting them be independent and
Yeah. And they're in a Montessori school now, and if there was a Waldorf school, we'd send them to that. Like if we were actually both fit and cut out to be like stay-at-home moms or parents, I think from a belief standpoint or a core standpoint, we might even explore that. Sophie and I are both artists, and we were put through the same college, university pipeline, and we were like, why are we here? Like we could be doing mentorships and be out in these streets, like learning. And, there's a lot about that model that doesn't serve us anymore. And I think I'm curious to see how that might change, but I'm going to support my children in the ways that really listen to them, to their needs, to their wants. And I'm going to be a parent that's willing to put down my wants for them. And I know that's going to be a lot of work for me to do, to say, no, but I wanted you to be a dancer, and he's like, I want to play baseball. And I'd be like, oh, fuck, but just surrender again. And really, because I want to honor the light that's in them, and who am I to know that better than them?
I think that that's very real, and I don't want to discount Faisal. That's not what he would want for our girls. What I'm what I was saying on the independence is I literally gave Mila wine the other day. She's 8.
Yeah, Lucy's definitely had my coffee.
Yeah,
before.
because she's like, oh mom, she's like, I want to try it. I'm like, here, try it. And then she's like, oh, it's gross. She spits it out. And then he's like, why'd you give her wine? And I'm like, because she's gonna hate it, and then she's not gonna ask for it again. And so I gave her wine.
Well, so
that's why.
Well,
shoes. I do the same thing. They go outside all the time without shoes, and it's like, why are the shoes on? Like, put your shoes on. And I'm like, well, they'll just they'll burn themselves. We're in Orlando. It's hot. They will burn themselves. I'm like, let them be.
Yeah, they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But there's a bigger why. And the why is so that you don't erode the trust. The why is so that they understand that when shit does go down, that they can come to you.
Yes.
And you're not going to be like, well, I told you so. Mm-hmm. And there is this safe space for them to
That's important.
Come to you and be vulnerable with you, because you've given them this permission to explore their lives, instead of them already understanding that you're not going to approve of what they're about to say, so they're not going to tell you. That's a landscape that I don't want to create for my family.
I love that you're changing that for yourself and for your family. And I think it's crazy that you have 2 kids 8 months apart.
We're not well. I just want you to know how unwell we are.
I mean, it takes a village. Do you have support?
It is interesting. We both don't have family near us. We have some support, but in the course of all of this, we've also been going through a home renovation, and we moved from Brooklyn to Long Island. So we're trying to establish everything new. What are the systems? Who are the people? And it's ever changing and ever stressful. And the more that Sophia integrates into, working again, singing, performing, the more intense it becomes. It
is. Working mom life is a real, it is real. You become very productive very quickly. You become very efficient. You learn to delete a lot, and I'm very lucky. I have a lot of support around me. That's why I live in Orlando. Why did you build a company out of her? My mom lives across the street from me. Yeah. And I have support, and I have help, and I have a supportive partner. We both work, and it does take an entire village for us to do all the things that we do. And I am tired all the time, and as are all the women listening.
And they don't tell you also have to pay for that village, right? Yeah. So if your family isn't nearby or whatever, the village that's the quote unquote village is you paying for it. So make sure there's so much they don't tell you.
They don't, but parenting it's the greatest. I'm just it has made me. My whole life perspective is so different, and all I want to do is I'm always annoyed at the kids, and then all I want to do is be with them all the time too. That's just the most amazing thing that I am enjoying, but also so different. I think every phase of parenting is so different. I think I'm in the really fun part. My 6 and 8. How old are yours?
2 and 3.
Okay, you're in the really tough part right now. So I do want to hold your hand a bit. Yes. Do you know that the terrible 2s are not actually at 2 years? They're 2 years of terribleness.
Oh, yes, that tracks.
Why didn't they tell? So it's not year 2. Why didn't they tell you that? There should be a book about that. Mm-hmm. It's terrible 2 years. So it's the 2s and the 3s. And you have 2 of them at different spaces. And so of course you're tired. And I'm going to recommend this really awesome Peloton instructor that I work out to. She really just gets me. All right, I want to shift gears a bit and talk about all the amazing things that you're doing and work. And you have a lot on your plate, but you're so fulfilled. You're so passionate about your thoughtful coaching, mindful, playful. There's a lot of full in your life. I want to hear all about all the incredible things that you're working on.
Yeah. So Mindful 3 is a wellness company I started when I started at Peloton. Again, in that place where I was focusing on moving my body again, nurturing my body with food, and unpacking my emotions and patterns with a life coach. And so that's the business model, is that for 3 months, we take you through a transformation. You have a life coach, a nutritionist, and a personal trainer, and you're meeting virtually, and you have this accountability baked in, this deep dive into, again, your own awareness of what foods work for your body, what's, what makes you feel good, what doesn't. Again, the life coaching piece really just unpacks it all, just kind of opens it up to understand what emotions, thoughts, feelings, or unresolved issues or traumas that need to be repaired in order for you to actually work out what your relationship to food is, right? We have to talk about your relationship with your mom or your dance teacher before we talk about your relationship to food, because it's interconnected. So it's not just like giving people a diet, or it's saying like, let's understand who you are so you can understand who you are, and then allow that to inform where we go next. From there, I have started a small group coaching program, which has been really fulfilling, because as you can see, I'm pretty long-winded and can talk about healing, spirituality, and this whole landscape.
I love it. We love it. We love it. And so you need your podcast. So we're going to all be subscribing to the Jess podcast.
Thank you. Yes, that's actually on the horizon as well. I finally found a group of people who want to hear me talk about this. And that's been incredible, because I've been able to see how these conversations have change their life. This community I have a relationship with, whether it's social media or they're coming to the studio or whatever it is, and I can just see how things start to transform, and it's incredible. And they keep coming back, which I think is like the tell-all that there's something resonating there. I'm very excited for the podcast, because I've lived many lives, from So You Think You Can Dance to being in Cirque du Soleil on Vegas to I can't even tell you how many exes I have that all start with the letter J. Like the amount of red flags in my life that I just walked straight into, but then always managed to reset and get back up. Truly have learned a lot by living a lot, and met a lot of cool people along the way. We have a saying in our group that's no ancillary characters, like useful friends only. Like in our friend group, it's like everyone is known to, you're known for like organizing the trip, and you're known for like making sure the lighting everywhere we go is on point, and like you're gonna call the Uber, and everybody has their like role inside the group. Okay, well, my core value is to provide value. Whatever I'm doing, I'm like, does this benefit myself and others? From On the Record, which is the blog that I started, the media outlet that I started, where the podcast will live under. It's like, cool, yes, I could have a blog, but like I really wanted to provide value for others and give back to others. So let's highlight other people. Let's make sure that people in my community of Latinas, queer moms in general, people into fitness, women in sports, that we have like this place and this platform where we can share our stories. And at the same time, this is about business. So there's an investment portion that gives back to the community. You buy your investment, then we bring on writers and other contributors to the platform. It becomes their job to start writing. And that felt like so exciting to me. And that's really what everything that I do, especially like DJing. I learned how to DJ while I was on mat leave. And it feels like it should be hard, but it actually is like, I'm not very good at it just yet. My music selection, yes, but like being on
your
the decks,
music selection is so good.
My music selection, I can't complain, honestly.
That's good.
But I could be much more proficient on the decks, let's be real. But it's about just saying like, this is what's real for me right now. I authentically want to be able to like take people on this really deep inner journey on the dance floor and on the thing, and have all of it talk together. I just want to be in people's heads and hearts, and I want to like move their body and their spirit into higher vibration. They believe in themselves, so they can just keep sharing that out in the world. So everything I do kind of feels like that.
I think that makes complete sense, right? It's like I feel like there's this just your energy and like living and being, and you want people to have like a greater life. You believe in their light. I feel like that was something that I really took away from this episode right now. It's like we all do have something special, and it is our duty to go live that light and be kinder to ourselves, and to find, and I appreciated you like not BSing us on like, what does your like, it is chaotic and it is hard, and what do your routines look like? So if you can just walk us through like, what's the day in the life of a Peloton instructor?
Oh, I can say what mine is like. First thing, I wake up and I just make sure to hydrate, like electrolytes. I've been doing a beetroot powder to just oxygenate, hydrate, get things moving, help flow bloods, la circulación, as the abuelas would always say. And then I eat a big
to circulation.
Yeah, to get the circulation moving. I eat a protein-heavy breakfast, like as much as possible, as much fat, bacon, avocado. Just try to. If I don't get food in then I might not for a while. So that's really hard. So then I start commuting, and when I'm on the train, I'm usually working, playlisting, get off the train, teach a class, mostly 2 to 3 every time we're there. Meetings after that. Sometimes I can like sneak away and go to a thrift store or like do a little fun. I love thrifting. I just love to find a diamond in the rough, if you will. Sometimes I find time for myself, but mostly it's just going back and forth until I'm done, until I stop. And then my laptop shuts off and no one can get a hold of me, and I'm with my family and I'm there. So I really feel like if you geotagged me or just followed my air tag all day long, you'd be tired from watching it, just from the amount of ground that I cover in a 24-hour period.
I believe it. I believe with all the amazing ventures that you have going on with your platform, with serving, and then the kids. I mean, you are doing it and it's awesome. I'm going to close up this episode with a little bit of rapid fire. I just put these together because this is a new season for us. We are back. I'm so excited to be here with you and with our audience. And I'm going to do just a couple quick questions. Just say whatever comes to your mind. I didn't prep you on this. I should have said this before, but I literally made these up like on the way over here, as I usually do. All right. So rapid fire, inbox zero or chaos queen?
Oh, chaos queen.
Okay. I'm an inbox zero.
Yeah, of course. We can already tell.
Okay, fine. Okay,
we already know who's here.
Okay. Slack, text, or voice note?
Text.
Okay. What's something that you secretly delegate? Like you're like, as soon as it comes on your plate, you're like, I gotta find somebody else to do this.
My bills.
Okay. Daily ritual that keeps you sane?
Dancing.
Oh.
Like one song of just being whatever every day.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's so important.
And I could also say like working out, fitness.
Yeah.
If I don't work out, my mental health is in the gutter. There's no coming out of it until I move my body.
Oh, it's so important. I want to feel like you when it's like working out still for me is such like I have to go do it. I haven't found that like.
Here's the thing. Understand the chemistry, right? Like we're all chasing dopamine every day.
Yeah.
That's what we need in order to function. That's what we need in order to feel excited or present. And that's the chemical reaction that's happening inside of a workout. If you are creative, a business entrepreneur, a CEO has to be a creative, like solving problems, creating something new requires creativity and visionary. Understanding that right after a workout, you have the right chemistry to have the neurodivergent neuroplasticity happening enough for you to start actually thinking outside. It's a secret weapon.
It is.
Like your body is way smarter, powerful, has more wisdom and information than your mind. When we move inside of a workout, we are putting the mind aside and allowing your body and your spirit to kind of take over, to lift you up. And then your body is doing all the chemical reactions needed in order to support what I'm saying is lift you up into a higher frequency. Then you can go think about your problems. Then you can go. And not only that, your physical structure is supporting you. You don't feel like your posture is dying. Your aches and pains don't hurt as much. You have this metabolic effect of being poised and in your power. So next time you're like not wanting to work out, just think about what's inside of the workout waiting for you. Possibly the answer to your problem.
I mean, of course, now I'm going to be working out every morning, 100%. Jess, you're going to text me.
That was so rapid fire, wasn't it?
It was so good. No, but I threw us on a tangent because I just want to be honest that I do struggle with that still. I work out every day, but I struggle with it still. And I try everything and
so maybe that's just what it is. And so you have to get over yourself in order to get into it every single time. How fast can you get over yourself?
I like that. All right, we got 3 more. What is the current book on your nightstand right now?
Oh, it's the Julia Fox one. I really want to read it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know which one it is.
Her autobiography.
Oh, the autobiography.
Mm-hmm.
All right, your coffee order.
A double shot, cappuccino, light on the oat milk.
Okay, I like that. And what is, to close it up, one advice that you would give your younger self? Something young Jess should know.
You were never broken.
Thank you so much, Jess. This was so special. Thanks for being on. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you did, tag Jess, tag us. This is such a heartfelt conversation. Thank you for being honest and vulnerable and amazing. And you're so special and unique and beautifully you, allowing all of us to be beautifully us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
What a joy it is to share.